In today's gospel, Jesus places a beautiful invitation before us, and it's especially welcomed during these summer months when things somewhat slow down. And that invitation is, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest." It's a beautiful invitation, but it's also a very good reminder. It's a reminder of the fact that if we want that rest the Lord offers, there are certain things that we have to do. This past Thursday, I came home from working at the diocese around 4 o'clock, and I knew I had confessions at 5:30, but I sat down in my chair and I thought, okay, I'm just going to close my eyes for 15 minutes. And that was a big mistake. I woke up at 5:20, dazed and confused, not knowing who I was or where I was, what I was supposed to do, but I knew I had to do something. I kept reaching for my phone, look and see what you got to do and just go do it. And I thought, oh, confessions, that's right. I got 10 minutes. And so I was able to wake myself up and be there for confessions. And I thought, well, it'll be a nice Thursday night, pretty slow, long line of confessions. Apparently, I needed rest, and that need caught up with me. I'm sure some of you can relate, especially parents out there, as I always see you come in with all your beautiful children, and sometimes the look of exhaustion on your face is there. If we want rest, we have to do certain things, in that case, like slow down and sleep. But also, when we think about our 250th anniversary of the founding of America, we think of the fact that there are many things in the last 250 years that had to be done to achieve a state of rest, if you will. Think of all of the unfortunate conflicts and things like that had to happen in order to be able to get to places of equality and justice and a lack of, getting rid of discrimination and all of those sorts of things. So Americans have worked hard and have made many sacrifices for freedom, for justice, for peace, and for this rest. Among these many Americans were many Catholics. I'm thinking of Junipero Serra, who changed the history of the West Coast when he founded 9 missions there. Think of St. Catherine Drexel. She worked for racial justice in America, founding schools and missions for Native American and Black communities, and the first Catholic university for African Americans. Think of servant of God Dorothy Day. She co-founded the Catholic worker movement to aid people who were in need, and that still exists today. And think of our own Pope, Pope Leo XIV, a native of Chicago, the first Pope from the United States of America, already having a very positive impact, not only in our country, but throughout the world on so many levels, which is leading so many people back to the church, thanks be to God. So if we want rest, we know there are certain things that we have to do to get to that place. And the first thing on the spiritual level is to recognize the restlessness within our own hearts. St. Augustine famously said, you've probably heard, our hearts are restless until they rest in you, O Lord. That's what all those pivotal players I just mentioned did. They recognized that restlessness deep within their souls, and countless others like them. And we're called to do the same, or otherwise, this invitation of Jesus in the gospel really makes no sense. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. We have to recognize that we need that rest in here. And also we have to recognize Jesus isn't talking about a physical or a mental or emotional rest. He can give those, yes, but he wants to go deeper with us, to give us rest from that weariness in our souls. Where does that come from, that weariness in our souls? It comes from living in a world affected by original sin. Think of the lack of ability we have because of sin to see and think clearly, the weakness of our wills, the desires we have that pull us in all the wrong directions, separation from God, from one another, broken relationships. We act as though everything depends on us instead of turning to God. And of course, suffering and death, the big ones. All of those things cause that weariness deep within. Also, our own sin and trying to live as if this is all there is and trying to make our lives all about us. That makes us spiritually tired. And it's from this that Jesus wants to give us rest. It's the type of rest that no amount of sleep or time off can give, the type of rest that no nation or government, no one, nothing else can ever give us. It's the type of rest we truly desire and really need, whether we realize it or not. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. That rest comes when, after we recognize that we need it, we invite Christ to come and reign on the throne of our hearts. That's the key thing in the spiritual life. Jesus, you reign on the throne of my heart, not all these other things I've placed there. You reign there so that you can give me the rest I truly need deep within. A few weeks ago, I went on an annual spiritual retreat, as priests were required to do a retreat once a year for a full week. Sometimes people joke and say, "Did you have a nice vacation?" But in reality, a spiritual retreat requires a lot of work. It is a time for resting in the Lord. What does that look like? Every day we do 4 holy hours before the Blessed Sacrament. We spend time with a spiritual director processing what we've come to realize in prayer. More time in prayer, silence, spiritual reading, time for exercise, which is good, and also time for rest. Again, whether you want to or not, you might be sitting there and just simply fall asleep in the chair. It's a lot of work, but it's the type of work that leads to true rest. And I can say that had I not been faithful to this requirement for the last 20 years and striving to come to the Lord each day in some way for rest, I would not be here today. It's that important. It's that life-changing. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. So 3 things I want to recommend for all of us here, easy to do, easy to begin to do, I should say, and really can be life-changing on the spiritual level. So the first is to pray, and not the laundry list of things we ask for. We can do that, but a different type of prayer here for rest. And I would suggest we have a beautiful adoration chapel as you leave the parking lot. The code is in the bulletin, and with that code, you can get in there 24/7. Go in once a week, 5 minutes. Sit in the presence of the Lord. If you have something to bring to Him, go ahead and bring it to Him, and then just sit there with Him for some time. And maybe let that time build up over the days and weeks and months ahead. That prayer will bring you that rest. The second thing is to surrender. When something begins to burden you, immediately recognize that, stop and say, "All right, Lord, this is burdening me. I give it to you now." And leave that with Him, and then keep moving on to the next thing. That surrender brings a beautiful rest. And third, encourage. When you learn of someone else's burdens, encourage them. Invite them to bring them to the Lord. Maybe offer to pray with them. Offer words that lift them up, like, "Keep going, I'm praying for you, the Lord is with you. Somehow in His plan, everything will be okay." And if you can, offer to help carry their burdens. Call them, visit them, listen to them, bring a meal. Encouragement also gives us a beautiful type of rest, and those who really need it as well. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Today, let's pray that this Eucharist we will now offer and receive will help us to recognize the weariness in our hearts, to invite the Lord to sit on the throne of our hearts, so that from there He can give us the rest that He desires for us and the rest that we all truly want and really need.